What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Before we start off with the video, I want to remind everybody the content creator program is going on for Game of Thrones. If you are a fan of the channel, if you're a supporter, click that support button, get yourself some free codes. I've already submitted the first mission, guys. Second mission will be on the way. Codes will be sent to you guys as soon as they are approved. Make sure you guys join. It's easy, it's free, and it's going to get you guys some loot on my behalf. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get on with the video. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Game of Thrones King's Road video. All right, folks, we got to talk about momentum. That's right. Momentum is your combat power in this game, how to get it, what the best way are, all the ways you can use to get it, and why it's so important. Of course, there's gatekeeping in this game. The story mode itself, there's no quote unquote stamina per se, but there is RP points essentially, which is going to allow you to do a lot of the things that will get you the momentum, such as dungeons or bosses. Or, for example, this direwolf fight that I'm about to do, okay? Now, momentum is, again, your combat power. Now, your character himself, if you look at the equipment section, will have various ways to get momentum. We're going to talk about all of those different ways and what you can do to raise it. Now, this is going to be important because momentum will dictate who you can fight, when you can fight these bosses, and what dungeons you can actually do, and your chance pretty much of survival and damage you do, okay? So, first off, let's talk about the character information, all right? You guys can see here, here's my character info. My momentum right there is 30,422. This is my weapons and gear. This is pretty much the makeup of all my momentum, okay? So this is essentially what will give you all of your damn power, right? So it comes down from stats, comes from skills, comes from additional effects, and of course comes from your weapons and gear, your jewelry, your artifacts, house advancement boards, house sigil collection, your set research, your trait tree, your skills, and your base stats. So we're going to talk about every single one of those things and kind of break it down for you. So let's start off on the left side over here. I'm going to move my screen so you guys can kind of see it. This over here is going to be my equipment. Okay, so in the beginning, it's comprised simply of your weapon, your long-range weapon, your helmet, your armor, your hands, and your feet. Okay, so these are, or your leggings, whatever you want to call those, or your bracers, right? So this is what it's going to be comprised of. Now, every single piece of gear has a tier to it. You're going to start off with tier 1. That's what this 2 signifies over here. This right here signifies the set, and this right here signifies your actual advancement in that gear. Now, blue gear can be advanced once. You guys can see here, the reforge count is 1 time, okay? And this will give you the skill trait that it affects and the random effect that comes with it. You'll learn more about those in a different video, right? But when you use a set piece here to advance your gear, which you will need a tier 2 greatsword, for example, and the same rarity, you can then get yourself additional bonuses from the reforged section, okay? You guys can see there's no night exclusive here, obviously, but here you guys can see as well too, this counts the same way for the crossbow, the helmet. I don't have the momentum because you can see you can do it twice on purples and 3 times for legendaries, but because I don't have an extra purple helmet, that's what I'm hunting for now in order to get this up to the next momentum, all right? You guys can see this armor over here also has a reforge count. This one has a reforge count. And then lastly, the boots have a reforge count. This is a great way to get your momentum up. The higher the tier, the more the momentum. The more you reforge, the more the momentum. So very important, guys. Tiers do matter. The set bonuses do matter, as well as your actual reforging of gear. So very important. Now the rarity will raise up. Even if you have a 1 reforge item and a no reforge item, the actual rarity does matter quite a bit. Okay, now this here is a little bit of an issue. I did want to show you guys this. You guys can see this is the only piece I have right now that does not have a piece set, right? But it is a 2-star. If I wanted to go to the purple, for example, you guys can see here I lose 240 momentum, even though it's a purple, or 340 momentum to get the bonus, right? Now, that's a pretty big deal. So you want to be careful in terms of breaking your sets, but also losing the momentum in order to do different content, right? You guys can see tier 1 gear, tier 1 gear, tier 2, tier 2, tier 1. You guys can see the difference in momentum. So very important to remember that, guys, okay? Same thing goes for jewelry. Now, jewelry, from what I've seen so far, doesn't actually have a set, but you can actually advance your jewelry. I'm going to show you guys how to do all of that here as well. These are actual costumes. They will not affect your momentum. This is strictly cosmetic. Do not let that fool you. If you buy a cosmetic piece, it's just exactly that. It's cosmetic, okay? Now, let's go back to the character info for a second and look at something else called artifacts. Now, these artifacts are very, very important, okay? They're heirlooms and they range the same way as the other things do in this game from rarity purposes. There's blue, there's purples, and then there's legendaries. Now, artifacts are very, very costly and are probably going to be the end game momentum for most players, okay? So you guys can see here, I've got a few of them. All right, so these are all very important ones. I've got a couple active ones here, which you can actually use in battle and equip. And then we have passive ones that you can also equip and also advance as well. So I'm going to go ahead and equip this one, for example, right? You guys can see my momentum went up, even though this one here does give me attack power and HP. And this one here gives me defense increase, but it gives me fairly good passives. Now, this is going to be a smart one for a lot of knights. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a artifact equipped. As long as you level it up, it will give you momentum. So this is very important, guys, okay? And artifacts have something called durability, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, you guys can see here, if I'm going to advance this, right? Let's just say I want to advance this a few times. Let's go all the way here. That's 10% advancement. Now, when I select that, it's not only going to eat up a lot of copper, which I'm going to show you right here on the side. You guys can see, I'm going to put myself right up here. You guys can see it takes 31K copper to go between 5% to 10% increase, okay? So that's a massive amount of copper taken up. Keep in mind, guys, the more you level this up, the higher amount of copper it will cost, right? So it's very, very important to remember that. Now, it is important, though, to get your momentum up. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. You guys will see once I enhance this, my momentum went up there. It went up by 8% and the durability went down. I'll do a whole different video on artifacts and which ones you should equip, but the way to restore durability is by having these durability kits. And you guys can see here, when you do restore durability, it does cost you even more copper. So copper plays a major role in this, guys. So keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to go ahead and level up my big one here, which is, I'm going to go ahead and advance. I'm going to go select all. And we're going to select here. You guys can see here, because of the what I have remaining and because of my durability, this is going to cost a lot less. So here, I'm going to restore one by doing this. Look at all my durability go back up, right? Again, I'll do a separate video on this. But now if I select it, look at this. I can go all the way up almost to the max. I'm going to delete this, 153K in order to get that up. So I'm going to do this manually, okay? We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look at my copper getting eaten up here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and enhance that. We'll confirm. And now I got 474, and you guys can see it went up, my durability went down. So it is very important, guys. It's vital to get as many artifacts as you can under your belt and level them up, okay? Advance them, because it's absolutely worth it. You guys can see here I got more research there. And if I were to level this one up, even though it's not equipped, right? Let's just see if I can. Let's put it up by 1 level. It will still increase my momentum, even if it's just a little bit, okay? So keep that in mind. It's very important, guys, to select the best artifacts to equip with the highest momentum to take advantage of what it offers you. All right, so very, very important to remember that. Now, another place, of course, that you can increase your power is your trait tree. So as you level up, you're going to get trait books right over here, these trait points, and you're going to be able to apply them to your trait tree, which will also increase the amount of momentum you get. So very important, guys. Leveling plays a major role, obviously, in this. As you get those, make sure you do it. Skills is also another place that plays a big role. Skills will also increase your momentum as you level them up. That also increases the skill damage of all of your active skills as well as your default skills. Okay, so if I were to take this, for example, and let's say I just want to get my, okay, you know what? Let's go to combo number 3, okay, because it's got the lowest combo. Let's say I want to level this up, right? You're going to see here it goes up. Right, my combo damage does more and my momentum went up. So very important, guys, to do side quests and get these up as well too. These are going to play a big role in your momentum in the long run, because you can level them up quite a bit. And not only that, but they also have extra levels here that give them side effects that you can do. So this is going to play a big one. Now, one thing that you're all going to wonder about is going to be the house sigils and the set research. It's important to remember the house sigils are things you want to level up when you get copies of them, as well as you want to activate them whenever you get them. Okay, there's great houses and then there's vassal houses. So great houses, for the most part, will actually give you guys a little bit more power. Okay, and you'll see this if I go to my advancement section here. This is my board. This is the momentum I currently have. If I were to go unequip all, for example, right, let's deselect all of them. You guys can see I lost 750 power. But if I were to do this, you can see which one gives you the most amount of power here. So we're going to go ahead and pick the Bolton. That gave me 315. And then if you click here, you'll see what gives you the next amount of power here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose Stark here. We'll choose Glover on this side. Okay. And then you guys can see, even though it's a green and I have other purples around here, Tyrell does a good job. And if you guys want to know more information on this thing, what you want to do is you want to take a look at this little question mark that you can pop up, right? If I click right over here, for example, this will actually give you an idea of how this works. So the house sigils work as follows, okay? You can gain them through playing the game, buying them, etc. Now the advancement board, this is the important part. You can gain momentum by equipping house sigils to slots, friendly, hostile relationships. Click a slot to view the connected houses, friendly, hostile, and neutral relationships. Connecting sigils between houses with a friendly relationship may provide more momentum to the base amount. Connecting sigil between houses with a hostile relationship may give you less. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's how it works. So you absolutely want to make sure, guys, that you try your best to get your greens in there. You guys can see Terrell does give me more because we are neutral. That's what the white line means. If you were to go, let's say, someone with a red line, then you would get less, right? So it's very important, guys, to remember that as you're playing the game. You can actually click here and see which ones are red. You guys can see the reds there, which ones are green, and which ones are neutral. Okay, so very important, guys, to remember that as you're playing. So we're gonna go ahead and still put this on. It'll still give me 170. You see momentum right there is 785. If I were to unequip it and put, let's say, something friendlier, let's see who I have a friendship with right here. So let's say I want to put this one here, Dustin. You guys can see I got 150, 765. So 765 unequip, put Stark back in versus 785. So even though it's a hostile house, it still does connect and it still gives me more momentum. So keep that in mind, guys, when you are doing this, okay? You can actually advance even more of these boards. You can obtain one from the Alliance shop. You can obtain it as a reward clearing stage 20 of the Worm Walls. Can be obtained through the North Token Exchange Shop and can be obtained from the Reach Token Exchange Shop. So there's a couple places you guys can unlock these as well. Make sure you do because they're massive amounts of power for you. Now, the last one I want to talk about right now, and I think this is one that a lot of people will make a definite mistake on, is they're going to try to get their equipment and they're going to try to sell the equipment. Do not sell your equipment, okay? This is important for many reasons, even your white equipment and all that stuff. The reason why is you have this place called Set Research, okay? Now, this research section is actually going to allow you to research more on your bonuses for your sets. So depending on what sets you want to go for, you might want to level these up, right? So for example, the champion one is one I may consider doing. So I'm going to go ahead and use all of my stuff that I have to level it up even further. You guys can see here, my momentum will go up. If I research, bam, see, Flower of Research, that's an achievement I just got, and my momentum will go up by 80. So this is important because these are all bonuses you will get when you equip these sets. So currently my Savant set is my favorite set. That's the one I'm using. So I'm trying to get this one up. But through the game, you're going to get more sets as you play. So it's very important, guys, to actually focus on getting yourself your researches done, and that will push you even further. Now, why do all this, right? What's the purpose of all of this stuff? So the real purpose is when you are fighting like later on in the game and as you go further across, more enemies are going to have a lot more power, and you're going to want to do different dungeons with different power sets. You actually can't even enter a dungeon at times if you don't have the proper momentum. So it's super important, guys, to make sure you have the momentum to make your life easier, and at the same time, it just will make the game much more fun when you can hit things more like stronger, and honestly, it makes it more like the game gets more difficult. At the end of the day, people don't realize that, but the game is actually getting more and more difficult as you advance through chapters, and rightfully so. It's an RPG game, right? So very important to remember that momentum will help you traverse through the content much easier, and you definitely want to make sure you continue building it. That is pretty much your bread and butter in every gacha game, as many of you know, and RPG is all about power at the end of the day. So no matter what class you're playing, no matter what role you're playing, momentum will always play a major role in the way you advance in the game. Now, without all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and watch the Direwolf fight, and then we're going to go ahead and beat this boy and get ourselves hopefully an epic weapon, because I've been dying to get an epic sword. Like, dying to get an epic sword. Uh-oh, here we go. He's eating me up. This is actually one of the most fun bosses. Like, the deer was really cool, I guess the elk was really cool, but I'm really digging this fight. This was a lot of fun to do, and there's a lot of players who are actually way further in the game than I am. I've been taking my time and just enjoying, exploring, making sure that I get everything in. This is also a bug, by the way, so Netmarble, if you're watching this, you may want to consider, you know, fixing this little problem. When I kill these wolves, it comes in Korean when I'm obviously an English-speaking player. So here we go. All right, let's go, guys. Try to get this guy out of the way. Let's maybe I'll do this on stream and I'll get lucky, because I've not had luck with any drops from these guys. All right, he's gonna fall here. I love the mechanics. Like, once you start playing these, you're gonna learn a lot about the enemies you fight, and it's honestly a pretty big deal when you start fighting enemies and understanding their attack patterns. And this is where momentum plays a major role too, right? Like, my attack power was so low when I used to take forever to beat this boss, and then I came back with higher momentum, and bam, there we are. Taking kicking ass and taking names. Ah, look at that, nothing. But we did get trade points and basic skill points by leveling up at least. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.